India has delivered a powerful strategic message in a major boost to its nuclear deterrence capability. India has successfully tested the Agni V missile with multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicle technology from Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Island. The breakthrough allows a single missile to carry multiple nuclear warheads and strike several targets hundreds of kilometers apart with high precision. The successful trial places India among a select group of nations with advanced MIRV technology and marks a major leap in indigenous defense capabilities. India has successfully carried out another crucial test of the Agni V missile equipped with MIRV technology, demonstrating its ability to launch multiple nuclear warheads at different targets through a single missile. Conducted from Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Island off the coast of Odisha, the test confirmed that all mission objectives were met and marks a major leap in India's strategic deterrence capability. MIRV technology is one of the most advanced features in modern missile systems. Instead of carrying a single warhead, one missile can deploy several independently guided warheads, each programmed to strike a different target. This significantly increases destructive capability while making interception by enemy missile defense systems much more difficult. For India, the successfully tested MIRV dramatically strengthens its nuclear deterrence posture. It enhances second strike capability under India's no first use doctrine and ensures that the country can retaliate with overwhelming force if attacked. It also improves India's ability to penetrate advanced missile defense shields maintained by potential adversaries. With this achievement, India joins a very small and exclusive group of nations that possess MIRV technology. And these countries represent the world's most advanced strategic nuclear powers and have used MIRVs as a cornerstone of their deterrence architecture for decades. India's successful test is not just a technological milestone, it's a strategic game changer. It signals that India now possesses the capability to deliver multiple nuclear warheads against multiple targets with one launch, dramatically enhancing its deterrence and reinforcing its position among the world's foremost military powers. We have Major General Sudhakar G, Defense and Strategic Expert. Joining us, we have Dr. W. Selvamurthy, President, Amity Science Foundation and former DG DRDO. We also have Professor Swaran Singh, SIS JNU, joining us. Thank you all of you for taking time out to be with us. Major General Sudhakar Ji, quickly let's begin with the opening comments on what this means for India's capabilities and where does it peg India in the high table of nuclear powers in the world.
Krishna, good afternoon. Thank you for inviting me for your show. My warm greetings to very distinguished and esteemed co-panelists and your viewers. As regards the question which you have asked, all I would say that it is the ultimate and the high table in the world order. It gives us a strategic reach. So all this missile that talks about, we have a domain expert who is going to throw some light. But as a defense personnel, retired general, all I would say, it has given us an extended outreach, a range of 12,000 kilometers. In some section in the open sources I have been reading since yesterday, there are sources who claim that the range can reach up to 16,000 kilometers. It is understood that the host country generally doesn't come out with the accurate range, but I take it that with 12,000 to 14,000 kilometers, it makes even the United States of America, the East Coast and the hinterland well within the reach of Indian arsenal. That is one. Second issue is that this very platform of MIRV and one missile, multiple warheads, independently targeting, different kinds of targets at different ranges. That is the ultimate kind of arsenal India is feeling proud of. And this will give us a very enhanced capability, not only the nuclear capability of our second strike capability that we keep talking of, our doctrine being no first use, but also the conventional capability. It is going to give us a huge quantum jump in our credible minimum deterrence as far as the nuclear capability is concerned, and also provide a very effective deterrence as far as the conventional capability is concerned. Back to you, Krishna.
Dr. W. Selvamurthy, tell us from a scientific perspective, it's iconic that, it is launched from Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Island off the coast of Odisha. It is a technology pioneered by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam in the country, and it's reached its fruition, isn't it?
I totally agree with you. It's a very significant milestone in the history of the ballistic missile defense capability today in our country. We started with 1983, the Integrated Guided Missile Development Program, which Dr. Abdul Kalam himself spearheaded this as a mission director. And he developed a number of missiles, Agni, Prithvi, Akash, Nag, Trishul, all these missiles for different applications. We developed those missiles. But Agni missile is a very important missile. It's a strategic missile, and it can also now reach the capability of intercontinental ballistic missile. That capability we have developed now. And then it's a lot of challenges are the technological challenges, right? From materials which you use, which should withstand temperatures of the range of 4,000 degrees Celsius. You need materials. It has to be lightweight so that you can have more payload. So the alloys which you choose, and also the carbon-carbon composite material which you use, which can withstand that kind of challenges when it is in sojourn to space and then re-entry into the atmosphere. So these are some material challenges. Then you need propulsion. You need propulsion to guide a missile to that the distance of 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 kilometers. So you need the three-stage solid motors which are being used in this missile. It's a three-stage missile. And solid propellant has its own advantage. So we have used this because easy to maintain, easy to keep it readiness, and then launch it quickly. And it's a container launch, so you can move it to any locations and launch it. So we were looking at the propulsion as a very important parameter to propel the missile. Then you need control, guidance, navigation, and then also the payload. It could be a nuclear payload or conventional warhead. So how do you integrate the payload and then separate it at various locations? But the MIRV is a very complex technology that you have to have separation at various levels, at altitudes. So you have the post-boost vehicle. Once it enters into, exit the atmosphere, then gets into space, then it needs to do a lot of things. So post-boost vehicle, it actually releases the multiple warheads, and then each warhead will act like an independent missile and targeting at various separate targets. So that is why it is known as independently targeted re-entry vehicle. And then it is also sequential release mechanism. So at what sequence it has to be released. So you have to compute the altitude and also the target, and then you have to navigate to the target. So the targets have, the seeking of the target is very, very important. Then precision guidance to the targets. So these are the technological challenges in this MIRV, and then we have very clearly demonstrated this capability. And also, as was mentioned, survivability against the ballistic missile defense. The air defense, ballistic missile defense, it'll have to pierce through and survive that, so that the second strike, the credibility of strike will also be ensured. Because having signed the no first use self moratorium, becoming a nuclear power, and we have to have credible second strike capability from land, air, water, underwater. Today, India, through DRDO and with the services, particularly Army, working together and with industry, we have been able to develop this credible second strike capability. And this particular launch today will further strengthen the strategic defense capability for striking multiple targets. And this is very important in our strategic scenario, in our the susceptible, vulnerable, the borders, both in east, west, and then you need to attack different cities, maybe, and different targets in different cities. So that is why this MIRV capability is very important for our national strategic defense. And it can also deliver conventional warhead, not only nuclear warheads. So that is why this is a very significant achievement. I would like to congratulate DRDO, the Army, and the industries who have partnered with the with us in DRDO. So and then it is also the important thing is heat shield, because once you enter into the space and then re-enter the earth, it encounters tremendous temperature. So one is the material, the other was heat shield. How do you protect against these vagaries of this high temperature? So these are some of the, and then also the guidance. And we also have RLG is very, very important for the navigational guidance which we have developed. And so these are very, very strategic capability. And once you get into the space, as was mentioned by General the Sudhakar, that once you enter there, you need to have only another motor to boost the range. You can achieve any range once you enter into space. That is why the further capability to reach anywhere in the world will also be possible. And this is a very significant achievement for the country. And so we must all be very happy about this in terms of our secured environment, which DRDO and the services have provided together. And this is also being done during Op Sindoor when we are commemorating the first anniversary. We just had Tara launched a few days back on exactly on 7th of May. And today is yet another very significant achievement. And only a few countries have this capability: US, Russia, China, and maybe France and UK. So India has joined this elite club of developing the MIRV capability, which is very, very significant in terms of ensuring the credible strategic deterrence.
Okay, Professor Swaran Singh, and all those countries, India is now part of it. It's a strategic message that India has chosen to go ahead with this test, isn't it?
Absolutely, Krishna. First, what makes this missile unique is the fact that each rocket can take several warheads, and some of them can be simply decoys. Not all of them need to be either conventional or nuclear weapons, which makes defense very difficult. Second, 6 other countries, India is now the 6th nation, Russia, China, United States, France, and UK have that technology already. India becomes the 6th country. What makes India special? First, if you remember in the history of India's nuclear and missile pursuits, India set up Atomic Energy Commission in 1948, did the first test in 1974. When we did the test, we said it is only a peaceful nuclear test. We took 36 years to weaponize that technology. Same is true of missiles. India had actually achieved MIRV technology by launching in 2008 our PSLV C9, which launched 10 satellites at that time. What we did is in March of 2024, when we launched this MIRV missile for the first time and Prime Minister enunciated mission Divyastra at that time.
Right.
So first MIRV test had already happened in March of 2024. So restraint is something which is inbuilt in India's strategic thinking, strategic culture. And remember, this is happening not like UK and France. It is happening when India is under sanctions, technology is denied to India,
Yes.
India has to reinvent wheel itself. So India's case in that sense also becomes unique. And third very quick point, India is really putting it as a defensive deterrence related technology. India is not like in 70s, Soviet Union and United States when they achieved MIRV missiles. This was part of strategic threats and arms race.
Right.
In India's case, this is part of NFU, and only in second strike that India is imagining that this will be required to be used. So enormous restraint is inbuilt in India's civilizational DNA and strategic culture. And MIRV missile, which is launched today, is a second test after March 2024. And it is demonstrating India's pursuit for technologies. India
Right.
is also working for hypersonic missiles as well, because that is another very, very advanced technology for missiles. India is working to develop hypersonic missiles, again as
Right.
part of Divyastra. And I think we are trying to first work on BrahMos to be produced as a cruise missile, which possibly would
Right.
have hypersonic capabilities. Hypersonic fundamentally means missile runs in a zigzag
Yes.
mode and it is almost impossible to intercept it. So it is part of India's pursuit for technology, which is primarily driven by civilian objectives, and spin-offs are happening to missile technologies in military.